Illinois' 15 most interesting facts. 1. Illinois gets its name from a term that means, he speaks in a regular manner. The Illinois Native Americans were first encountered and talked with by early French Catholic missionaries in the Illinois region, and it was after them that the state was called. But, of course, it isn't quite that straightforward. The French missionaries derived the name Illinois from the Miami, Illinois word, Illinois, which means, he speaks the proper manner, and was used by surrounding tribes to designate the Illinois people. Illinois residents referred to themselves as Inoka, a term that the missionaries recorded but presumably ignored. 2. Thousands of years ago, the Illinois region was populated. Long before Europeans heard of the Americas, the Illinois region had witnessed many tribes grow and fall. The Coster site, near the Mississippi River on the western tip of Illinois, is one of the oldest recorded sites. Evidence of continuous human occupation for more than 9,000 years, dating back to at least 7500 BC, was discovered during excavations in the 1970s. Cahokia, the largest chiefdom in pre-Columbian Mississippi civilization, inhabited from at least 600 BC to roughly the 14th century AD, is an even more important site. 3. The French were the first European explorers to reach Illinois. When the French missionaries and explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet made their way down the Illinois River in 1673, they became the first Europeans to find their way into modern-day Illinois. Marquette built a mission at the Grand Hamlet of the Illinois, a trading village of the Illinois people, not long after that. 4. In the years before Illinois became a U.S. territory, it changed hands many times. Frenchmen began to arrive in Canada and travel down the Mississippi River, eventually settling a large part of the Mississippi River Valley. Als New France and then La Louisiane fell, the British took control of Illinois in 1763, after France's defeat during the 7 Years' War. It wasn't until 1783 that the land became a part of the Northwest Territory of the United States of America, U.S. 5. Since 1857, Chicago has been the largest city in Illinois, and it's no wonder why. La ville de Chicago a été établie sur les bords du lac Michigan le 12 août 1833. When it first started out, it was a relatively insignificant town, but soon became known for its strategic location, which connected the west and east coasts of the U.S. 1848 saw the construction of the Galena and Chicago Union Railroad, as well as the Illinois and Michigan Canal, which cemented Chicago's geographic importance and boosted its population. 1848 was the first year that all transportation between the Mississippi River and the Great Lakes had to pass through Chicago, Illinois. As you might expect from a city in such a prime location, the population boomed, and it hasn't slowed down since. 6. Population of Chicago increased from 200 to 90,000 in only 24 years. When Chicago was founded in 1833, there were only 200 people in the city. A population of 4,000 was recorded in 1837, when Chicago became a city. For several decades, it held the title of world's fastest growing city. The population of the city exploded from 4,000 to more than 90,000 in just 20 years. 7. In Illinois, the founder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was killed. Nauvoo, an idyllic yet forgotten town-sized metropolis on a bend of the Mississippi River near the intersection of Illinois, Iowa, and Kansas, is located on a bend of the Mississippi River near the confluence of Illinois, Iowa, and Kansas. Nauvoo was founded in 1827 and was initially named Quashkama after a nearby Native American leader. Joseph Smith, the founder and leader of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and his followers fled to Nauvoo in 1839 to avoid persecution. By 1839, the newly arriving Latter-day Saints had purchased the village and transformed it into a bustling city with a population of 12,000 people, equaling Chicago at the time. The Latter-day Saints faced violent hostility from both neighbors who opposed their beliefs and methods of life and community members who had been excommunicated. When Joseph Smith and his brother were jailed in Carthage, Illinois, for destroying a printing press that was being used to discredit their church, the struggle came to a head. Instead of facing charges, the brothers were ambushed and killed by an armed mob. 8. Nauvoo, a former Mormon town, became a socialist utopian society. After the death of Joseph Smith in 1844, the Latter-day Saints were all but forced out of the region, leaving the town nearly deserted. At the same period, a French philosopher named Étienne Cabot was looking for the ideal spot to create Icaria, a utopian commune based on socialist principles. After Cabot and the Icarian endeavors in Texas failed, they purchased land in Nauvoo and founded a community there in 1849. However, the colony lasted only a short time. A number of problems arose from the start, the biggest of which was a lack of funds to purchase the equipment required to establish a proper settlement. Icaria numbered around 500 people at its peak, but by 1856 it had been disbanded after Cabot's death in 1856. 9. During the American Civil War, more than 250,000 men from Illinois fought. Only 3 states had more fighting men than Illinois: New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. There were 150 infantry units, 17 cavalry regiments, and 2 light artillery regiments among the soldiers Illinois mobilized for the war. Illinois, on the other hand, didn't merely send men to the war effort. Egypt's capital city, Cairo, was strategically important and was used both for training the Union Army as well as a supply base for the Union. 10. In 1871, nearly a third of Chicago was destroyed by fire. The Great Chicago Fire raged from Sunday, October 8, to Tuesday, October 10, 1871. In ruins was an area 4 miles, 6.4 kilometers, long and 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers wide. Fire claimed the lives of approximately 300 people and left over 100,000 people homeless. In a barn owned by the O'Leary family, a cow accidentally knocked a lantern over, which ignited the barn. An otherwise insignificant small fire decimated a third of Chicago in a matter of minutes. 11. Chicago was the site of the world's first skyscraper, built in 1885. Railway lines and other stone or steel constructions remained unharmed after the smoke and rubble of the Great Chicago Fire cleared. As a result, Chicago was rebuilt using stone and steel instead of timber. First skyscraper was built during this period of renewal. Built with steel frames, the building was 10 stories high. Originally 138 feet, 42.1 meters tall, the skyscraper reached 180 feet, 54.9 meters, in height by 1891. 12. During the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, 27 million people visited the exposition. As a fair, the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893 is hard to match. In addition to celebrating the 400th anniversary of Columbus's discovery of America, the event also celebrated Chicago's rise from the ashes and showcased many new inventions. The world's first Ferris wheel was the most notable invention on display at the fair. There were 36 cars on the wheel, each of which could carry 40 people. 13. Illinois was at the forefront of the nuclear age. Manhattan Project, responsible for the development of the first nuclear weapons, included the University of Chicago, which was one of the many universities involved. As early as 1942, a nuclear reaction was created at the University of Chicago. A year later, in 1957, a laboratory near Chicago activated the world's first experimental nuclear power generator. 40 years of particle accelerator research took place in Illinois, which was home to the world's largest particle accelerator. It was built in 1967 at a national nuclear research base near the city of Batavia, New York, and is still in use today. 14. In The Simpsons it's called Springfield. In real life, it's called Springfield. This is a good time to let you all down. Matt Groening did not base The Simpsons' hometown on the Illinois state capital. This is a fact, Matt said in 2012. I chose the name Springfield because it's a name that's used by many cities and towns in the US. Everyone should wonder if it's their hometown that he's based it on, because he thought it would be fun. 15. The highest point in Illinois is only about a quarter of a mile above sea level. The state of Illinois is rather flat. At just 1,235 feet, 376 meters high, it's one of the flattest places in the United States. Charles Mound is a point that can only be visited a few times a year. There are no official protected areas in this area, it's just a driveway. As a Midwestern state, Illinois' formative years were rough. Chicago's location on the Great Lakes Mississippi trade route made Illinois what it is today.